So I got this entitled neighbor. I told him countless times, hey man, when I'm not at my house, do not climb my fence and go into my pool. I mean, that sounds like a pretty reasonable request, right? Well, long story short, he's now trying to sue me. Yeah, I'm skipping ahead quite a bit. Guys, prepare yourself for today's absolute roller coaster of an Am I the A-hole story. I'm sitting in the hospital waiting room, surrounded by medical forms and charts, all because of my sweet dog. It all started when my entitled neighbor, we'll call him Bob, who has never been particularly friendly, decided that he would break into my backyard to use my pool while I wasn't even home. So, I live alone in a pretty nice neighborhood with a half-decent pool in my backyard. For starters, it's nothing fancy, but it's perfect for those hot summer days when you just want to cool off. I've owned my house for 2 years now. A reasonably large 3-bedroom villa I just bought at what I believe is my dream house. A place with privacy while remaining in an urban area. The place is all renovated and has a beautiful backyard and the pool in question. Well, I have friends over occasionally, and I enjoy having people over for food, drinks, and of course swimming pool parties now that the weather allows it. I also brought my dog with me from my apartment before this. I have a 4-year-old German Shepherd. I call her Sasha. She's the definition of gentle. She can run full speed through a field of baby chicks and would not harm a single one. I found her in a shelter. She looks like she would rip your throat out on sight, but is basically a giant teddy bear. When we're out, she never barks or gets aggressive with people or other dogs, even when off the leash in a dog park. She loves every person she's ever met, is incredibly sweet and gentle with my 4-year-old niece, enjoys other animals, and even loves the mailman. All in all, she's an extremely friendly and playful dog, especially if you're in her circle of trust. She's very protective, but she can get very anxious around strangers. She's a bit of a self-taught guard dog, but she won't just attack someone randomly unless there's a need for protection. If we say, "Who's there?" she would run to the door and bark as if she was in the house, or if we were outside, she'd bark at someone if they were a stranger. I guess Sasha learned it because someone would drive up the driveway. A family member would say to another, "Who's here?" And then some stranger would be present at the door. She, unfortunately, was very easy to train, and we were able to tell him, "Friend," and he would just calm down. Years ago, I accidentally cut a guy off while driving. A huge tree in a corner looked as best as I could, but the dude followed me home for a good 20 minutes and I pulled up my driveway, and Sasha always runs out to greet me. I stepped out of my car, turned to face the guy, and started shouting at him to leave my property. Sasha became the terror that she demoned from hell, barking, snarling, near choking herself on her own hatred for this dude. Yeah, she chased him all the way to the edge of the property and then came trotting back so proud of herself. I half expected her to attack him, but she never did. Coming to my neighbor, he's around 25 and he's an absolute troublemaker. He would do things like play loud music, always throw parties, and park his car in my driveway without permission. He lives with his parents, who are nothing like him. They're very quiet and sometimes helpful too. As far as I'm aware, his parents are wealthy and bought the house that they all live in. Shortly after moving in, I found him in my yard using my pool. There's no way he had just got the wrong yard, so I definitely got really angry because for starters, I don't like him. I was so mad, I called him right away and was like, "Dude, what the heck? You can't just use my pool without asking me first," and you know what he said? He gets out of the pool and was like, "Come on, man, it's just a pool. What's the big deal?" Apparently, the owner before us was friends with him, and the neighborhood kids, they would use the pool when they wanted to, and they assumed I would do the same. I felt totally caught off guard, and I'm just not comfortable with the flat out, "No, I don't want you in my pool." But the fact of the matter is, I don't want him in there. I also didn't want weird animosity between us because I live next door to the guy. I politely told him that I'm fairly a private person and enjoy my privacy. I said that you can easily pick up one of those temporary inflatable pools for like $400 from the home improvement stores, or maybe even Amazon, and that it's about 3.5 feet deep and 10 feet long, and about maybe 4 feet wide, and is very easy to set up as long as your yard is fairly flat, which it is. I assumed the matter was closed, but each time I was wandering around outside with Sasha, he would just ask over and over and over and try to sell the idea to having access to it to me. One day, while Sasha and I were walking in the park, Bob appeared out of nowhere and starts talking to me about the pool again, that he'll share the maintenance fees, yada yada, so I just really firmly told them that, well, he really needs to stop talking about the pool and walked away. Sasha starts growling at him, which made him really uncomfortable, so he left. I was a bit shocked for the rest of the day. I'm used to dealing with entitled parents, so I don't know why this affected me the way that it did. I was seriously getting tired of the nagging and the pool and his access to it being the only thing he wants to connect with me about. It's not like we created a bond or something. All convos are about the pool. So, I and my college friends, old-timers, have a party one evening. I invited Sasha's dog friend from the dog park, and everyone was really having a great time. But as I was showing the front yard to my friend, who do you think pops up? Bob. Shows up uninvited, and he was heavily drinking. He got disruptive and made all of us uncomfortable, and he starts talking about how it must be nice to be invited to enjoy the pool. And I said to him, "Can you go now? Dude, I'm having company." "Oh, I know, you don't have to be so aggressive." Well, it was really embarrassing for me in front of all my friends and family. So, I talked to his parents, installed security cameras, and even put up a taller fence. Posted no trespassing signs all over. A few days later, I noticed that Sasha was not eating her food and was vomiting frequently. I took her to the vet, and they told me that she swallowed something that was causing a blockage in her digestive system. So the vet recommended surgery, which was expensive, but I agreed to it. After the surgery, the vet informed me that Sasha had swallowed a pool toy that had caused the blockage. Well, at this point, I was shocked because I didn't own any pool toys. And Bob immediately popped into my mind. I knew that he might have thrown the toy in my yard. When I confronted him about it, he denied it, but I could see it in his eyes. I was very upset that my sweet dog had to go through so much pain because of some jerk's senseless act. To change the subject, he starts saying that my tall fence is an eyesore and blocks his view of the pool. Yeah, at this point, I'm starting to think he's kind of crazy. He told me that he'll file a complaint with the homeowners association. I told him, well, I'll contact the HOA first and explain the situation then. And the HOA will obviously side with me. So don't embarrass yourself. He even started spreading rumors about me, saying that I'm selfish and don't care about the community. He starts to become increasingly hostile towards me and Sasha. Whenever we would be out in the yard, he would come outside and just glare. Sometimes he would even make loud comments about Sasha, calling her, and I quote, "a stupid dog." She could sense my unease and would growl and bark at him whenever he came near us. And again, after a few days, I was heading to my office and something seemed off with Bob that day. He was just staring at me with a really strange look upon his face. So I ignored him and got into my car. At work, around 4, I received a notification from my home security camera. I opened up the app to find that Bob had broken into my backyard again to use my pool. I was steaming, and I immediately drove back home to yell at him. And when I reached, what I found was Bob screaming in pain on the ground, with Sasha standing over him. He had been bitten badly by her. She basically ripped off half of his calf muscle, She also even ripped off half of his wrist. I'm pretty sure she grabbed him by the calf and leg and pulled him when he was trying to get away. I thought she was going to take the guy's testicles through his boxers. I'm not sure what else happened, considering the blood all over, but my dog wasn't injured and Bob was passed out. Maybe from the pain or something else, I don't know. He was laying in a large pool of blood and all my anger turned to guilt. And at that point, I got very scared. I immediately pulled Sasha away and called the ambulance. The paramedics arrived and transported him to the hospital. The doctors informed me that they've stitched him up and he should stay hospitalized for a few weeks, maybe even up to a month to recover. A week after this incident, he had to walk with a cane, but he was lucky to survive the attack. He was conscious enough to state that Sasha, quote, attacked me like she always does. This simply isn't true. His Facebook is completely public and I have screenshots of him stating that this is the first time he was ever attacked by a dog. I pressed him to detail the attack and he admitted that he used a ladder and climbed over my wooden fence this time to use my pool. And when he was leaving, my 60-pound dog leaped as high as she could and just mangled his boxers. And then she started biting him all over his body. I didn't say anything. I'm now paying all the bills. To be seen and admitted for the wounds, to be checked, cleaned, and treated, for vaccinations to be given, medicine cost, and more, without even thinking twice and calling his parents to the hospital. But things did not end there. Bob demanded $40,000 because, and I quote, "There's more than medical bills. It's pain and suffering at this point." Well, he also said that he will sue me and make my life equally miserable if I did not comply. He claimed that I should have done more to prevent my dog from attacking him. I knew that I wasn't at fault and I refused to pay him and more money. First, it's creepy that he noticed that I won't be home at 4 in the evening. Second, I already informed him 1,000 times to leave me in my pool alone. Third, there's a nice big "Beware of Dog" warning sign in a visible place mentioning trespassers will become chew toys. Turn back now or forever rest in pieces. My pool was covered using a pool cover. He literally removed it. For insurance reasons, I have a lock on my back gate because of the pool. The gate always remains locked as we would be liable if anything was to happen in the yard. The fence was previously about head height, but not tall enough for it to be difficult to peek your head over. Good that I put up a taller fence. Is he bluffing? Can I really be sued for this? I know that I need to take responsibility for Sasha's actions. Every time I think about it, I feel like I'm going to start crying. I don't want to be one of those owners who is oblivious to how dangerous their dog is, but I also can't help feeling a little bit like a victim in all this. After all, Bob did break into my backyard twice to use my pool as if it's a public pool. I spoke to my father and brother about this incident, and Dad told me that we will handle the case, but first I need to report the break-in to the police. My brother has a 4-year-old and says he and his family will probably not visit my house anymore with Sasha around them. He says since Sasha has snapped, she could do it again. So she's not safe to have around children. We used to spend weekends together a few times a month before this, and the way he words this makes me really angry because Sasha did not snap. She saw my neighbor. Yeah, he's not a robber or something, but she loves everyone, except apparently this guy. Well, she saw him breaking into her home and reacted. Nothing about that screams dangerous around children to me, unless they're also going to break into my house. This is also a very emotional issue for me because Sasha is not just a dog to me. She's my safe place, my hero, the one who had protected me and kept me safe many times in the past when no one else could. But I really need my brother and sister-in-law support. What can I do to make her understand the situation better? I'm receiving several calls and messages from other neighbors and friends who want to know what happened. Don't know how almost everyone knows about the incident. I barely leave my house and pay to pick up my groceries from the store instead of going inside, because I know Sasha's not allowed inside. And all my friends know that if Sasha isn't welcome in their house, I'm not coming. More than that, I'm afraid Sasha would have to be put down because she's, quote, out of control. What should I do? I know dogs can be put down if they bite or attack someone, but did that apply if your dog attacks somebody who breaks into your home? How can I protect her and myself over this? Did I do anything wrong so far? What can I expect to happen if I report the incident to the cops? I can't imagine staying alone without my dog. Update number 1. Wow, I can't believe how much this has blown up. I didn't really expect this kind of response. Thank you so much to everybody who left a comment. I appreciate that I got advice from people who completely agreed with me, to people who agreed with my brother's concerns. It was really helpful to hear different perspectives. After the incident, I took a week off work to take care of Sasha and make sure she was okay. Also to visit Bob and the hospital now, and then to see how he's recovering and to pay the bills. I've also been cleaning up the blood stains and the damage that's been done to my backyard. Doesn't look like Bob is in a position to sue me. One of you mentioned that I should look into my camera videos to see everything that went down. I totally didn't have time for that before, and everything just went by so quickly. Thank you for reminding me. I'm glad I did. I checked the video yesterday. It looks like Sasha was barking at him for a long time, and when he got out of the pool, she came closer to him. He then threw his water bottle at Sasha before climbing the ladder, and this provoking was the reason Sasha attacked. Now it all makes sense. She had never attacked anyone before, but I understand why she did now. I also saved the video just in case I need it if Bob ever sues me. I hope it never comes to that though. Oh, and some of you were asking about how Sasha's doing and suggested I get the veterinary to check out her health. So I took her to the vet and she's doing fine, but is a little traumatized. They gave her some medicine and she's coming back to normal. I make sure to spend more quality time with her, taking her on long walks and playing with her in the park. I just want to show her that she's still loved and that I always will be there for her. As for me, I'm really going through it, and I'm working with a therapist to process everything and cope with my stress. I've been feeling anxious and stressed about the whole situation, and it's been deeply affecting my sleep. I've been having a hard time focusing at work. Don't know how I would have managed everything till now without my therapist. I've also been talking to some of my other neighbors, who've been supportive and understanding of my situation. It feels good to have some people on my side. Anyways, I'm planning to stop by the hospital today after work to make sure he's doing better. That's all I have time to share with you about how my week is. Well, it's over now. And I better get back to my laptop before my boss notices. I wish I had more time to tell you everything that's happened, but I promise to update again really soon. Update number 2. Guys, some recent events have persuaded me to update you all on what the heck is going on. I'll just get right to it. A couple weeks before, I was at the hospital and I initiated a conversation with Bob's parents. I apologized deeply. I came to know them from that their son has a history of getting into arguments with other neighbors and causing trouble. He even has gone into an elderly neighbor's front garden and picked almost every one of her flowers. I'm talking roses and other exotic, expensive flowers. I then said I'm not going to try and excuse Sasha's behavior. What she did was absolutely unacceptable. But at the same time, their son had no right to be on my property in the first place. To which they both agreed and asked me if I was going to file a complaint. I said yes, and their face turned different. I felt very bad because first, this stupid guy got attacked, and now he's going to face criminal charges. I also know that it's the only way to teach him a lesson. So the next day, I report him to the police for trespassing and breaking and entering. It had already been many weeks since the incident, and they took my statement and said they would investigate. I knew that Bob was the kind of guy who would do anything to get back at me, and I wasn't sure how he was going to do it this time. A few days later, I get a letter in the mail from Bob's lawyer. He filed a lawsuit against me, claiming that I was responsible for his injuries, that Sasha is a dangerous dog, and I was negligent in controlling her. It was full of legal jargon that I didn't really understand. Yesterday, I got another letter, this time from Bob himself. It was a handwritten letter, and it was full of profanity and threats, and yeah, I was pretty scared, honestly, and a bit overwhelmed by the whole situation. I don't care about getting into legal trouble, I just don't want to be at a financial loss for all this. I never intended for anyone to get hurt, and I feel like Bob is taking advantage of the situation. The whole ordeal has been incredibly draining, and I'm not sure how much longer I can even handle it. It's frustrating to deal with someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own actions, but I'm trying my best to stay calm and not let it consume me. My friend and his wife are both lawyers. I called them and sent them snapshots of the letters. They said that it was just a scare tactic and Bob didn't really have a case. They assured me that a person broke into my house and my dog reacts to a threat, and the guy that broke in should be responsible for his own darn injuries. I'm going to talk to them today and then go to the court complex and go from there. Update number 3, a few months later. Things have been really tough. Sorry for not updating in a while, but I've been incredibly busy and was not able to find time to update. I've been going back and forth with Bob and his lawyers for months now, and it's been an absolute nightmare. My friend has been working tirelessly to help me navigate this difficult situation. I didn't know that he was this skilled. I remember feeling so helpless and overwhelmed when Bob first sued me. I had no idea how to proceed. I was really fortunate to have a friend who was a lawyer, and he even offered to help me pro bono. He advised me to document everything related to the incident, including the medical bills, other expenses I incurred because of it all. I also digged out Sasha's rabies shot records and gathered all evidence of vet records, proving she gets shots and has a healthy life. All these are really helpful for the case. We've been spending countless hours reviewing evidence, discussing strategy, and going over potential scenarios. So, my lawyer warned me that there's a chance the court can force me to put her down to the severity of the injury, even though this is her first attack. The thought of losing her is absolutely devastating. She's been a constant source of comfort and companionship for me, and the thought of never seeing her again is just too much to bear. I feel like Bob is excessively going after me. I have to take time off work now and then to attend court hearings and meetings with my lawyer. I have to dip into my savings and cut back on expenses. There are moments when it all feels too much, and I can't help but feel angry and frustrated. Bob had trespassed on my property to use my pool without my permission, and on top of it all, I have to face tension at work, at home, at court, everywhere I go. For the record, I'm aware I'm 100% responsible for my pet's actions as the owner. I'm not trying to avoid that. I recognize that Bob should not have been bitten. I'd always suspected that he had a bit of a grudge against me, but I never thought he would climb over my fence once again to do what he desired. Well, I still have some sleepless nights now and then. How much pain Bob must have felt being bitten all over. It makes me sick to think about what could have happened if I didn't have a home security system. I'm so glad I installed it, otherwise I don't know what would have happened to that dude. This legal battle is ongoing and dragging, and I'm not sure what the outcome would be. I just hope that the court can come to a fair decision, and that I can move on from this nightmare ASAP. Update number 4, Final OP update. Guys, let me just tell you, I'm so relieved to finally be able to share some good news with you. It's been a long and stressful journey, and I want to thank you for being along with me. But justice has been served. The judge totally saw through his BS and ruled in my favor. We had plenty of strong evidence of Bob breaking into my backyard and even provoking Sasha by throwing a water bottle at her. It was becoming more and more evident that the outcome would not be in his favor. The best part is, when his lawyers sensed that his case is failing, Bob kept trying to call me and apologize, but I didn't even answer. When he had to come directly to the court for one hearing, I didn't even see his face and walked away. He argued that his whole body was bruised and that he's in extreme pain and the injuries will set him back a few months. And his course and his physical goal, as he won't be able to lift. True, not denying that, but he seemed to forget about the part where he broke into my house to go swimming. Well, everyone knew that I had a strong case. His lawyer then contacted my lawyer and proposed a settlement that they will drop the case if I paid a quarter of the initial demand. My lawyer, being the genius that he is, replied that a good settlement will be for Bob to drop the case, and issued a public apology to the owner and the dog if he doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of the world. So let's fast forward to now. Not only did Bob lose the lawsuit, but he was also ordered to pay me $10,000 as a penalty for filing a frivolous lawsuit. He was also ordered to pay all my legal fees. He was also banned from coming anywhere near my property, and I installed a high fence to ensure that he could not break in it again. I thanked the judge and also my friend and left the courtroom filled with a mix of emotions. As for Bob, he paid all the amount and I never heard from him again. I'm relieved that the ordeal is finally over. It was a traumatic experience for me and Sasha. I felt like weight had just been lifted off my shoulders, and I could finally breathe easily again. I also don't ever want this to happen again. I know that I messed up by leaving Sasha alone in the backyard, and I'm doing everything I can to avoid incidents like this. Sasha and I continue our daily routine, but things are a bit different now. I'm much more cautious and aware of my surroundings, and I never leave her alone in the backyard again. I make sure to keep her inside the house whenever I wasn't home, just to be safe. At the end of the day, it's hard to shake the feeling that Bob got what he deserved. Don't mess with my pool, man! And don't mess with me or Sasha either. Alright, so my humble opinion of this story is that dog is such a good boy. All he did was protect his home. I can't believe that it went this far. The guy broke into the house. They had a locked gate, so even though they were all the way within the rights of the insurance agency and everything just to have a pool in the backyard, this guy not only broke in, but he decided to throw a water bottle at a dog that could rip him to pieces. So he obviously wasn't too bright. Not the brightest tool in the shed. Or in the backyard, I should say. Anyways, let me know what you think about this story, guys. Drop your opinions down below. Let me know. Do you think the dog's a good boy? Or does he deserve to be put down like they were trying to do in this story? Let me hear your opinions, guys. If you're new to the channel, my name's Mr. Reddito. I read stories every single day, some dramatic stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, smash that subscribe button because I'm here daily. I'll see you guys later. Peace!